One of the Michael Wong here on our right-hand side is playing Esper Control, so one of the control decks that I alluded to. He has sort of your standard suite of control cards along blue, white, black. His creatures are a Bloodline Keeper, 2 Consecrated Sphinx. He also has 3 Lingering Souls and a Battered Skull as his win conditions. Some Lilianas and some Gideons, and then your standard suite of spot removal, counter spells, and card drawing.
And Nathan is in fact playing Naya. He has a few different choices here. He has an Incinerate in his main deck over Green Sun Zenith, and he has a Hellrider over, it looks like a Metamorph from the deck list that I've posted on StarCityGames.com, so check it out.
On the premium side, or whatever, is it called?
It is, yeah.
Select or something?
Well, it's on premium.
No, but they had a different word for it, I thought.
There's premium and select. Select is the side that you don't have to pay for. Premium is the side that you do.
Sure.
Anyway, so Nathan on the left-hand side of your screen, he actually recently won a Legacy Open. I'm not sure exactly which one. I know he's from Texas, so it's probably somewhere in the South.
Sherlock and Holmes over here.
I know that he won it. He was playing, I think, Aggro Loam.
Yeah. So to me, the big difference between like the Esper and the blue-black control decks, those are sort of the two big control decks of the format. You get a slightly better beatdown matchup when you're Esper because you have access to Day of Judgment specifically, and then just a better suite of sideboard cards, like you can have timely reinforcements if you want, and so on. The biggest concession is your mana can't really handle Drown Yard anymore, which is the big breaker in all the control mirrors.
Yep. And I mean, and just your mana in general is pretty delicate. Like,
yeah, he has 3 copies of Evolving Wilds in his deck. He's making concessions to his mana base to facilitate this.
And looks like his mana is not bad so far. Starts with a Drowned Catacomb. Looks like he has another along with a Plains in his hand. Ooh, and a Seachrome Coast. So, unlikely to have too much in the way of mana trouble this game.
Turn 1 Bird off a Gorge for Zamora.
It looks like he has...
Appears to be an Incinerate.
And I believe it's a Blade Splicer.
Yeah, I believe he just drew a Blade Splicer.
And he does not have another land, I guess? Oh, no, he does, but he's leading... Okay, he plays Bird into Thalia.
Thalia could be a huge breaker against...
Yeah, Thalia is very powerful against control decks. And we see Michael with the Lingering Souls in his hand that he just can't cast. That Thalia is stranding it there. Michael does have Consecrated Sphinx in his hand and a Liliana, which is also somewhat stranded.
And not even especially good anymore anyway.
Right, now, yeah, and Liliana is certainly not really going to have enough of an impact on this board.
Uncastable for mana and power level reasons right now.
Looks like he just drew Ratchet Bomb, though, which is pretty good against that Huntmaster. Though if he does,
Zamora's got a very good spread of mana cost amongst his relevant cards here.
Well, he can play, if he wants, he can play that Ratchet Bomb and then take 6 in the chin, and then if Nathan doesn't play a spell, or even if Nathan does play a spell, Michael can pass his next turn back and kill the Huntmaster. But no, it looks like he's going to cast Lingering Souls. And that's really not very high board impact here. He's just going to... It can't profitably block anything.
This play makes sense if he has a Day of Judgment to follow up with the next turn, if he just wants to block out of this turn. But otherwise, this isn't really getting him anywhere.
Well, he can. It's potentially keeping the Huntmaster back. If Nathan decides he doesn't want to trade off that Huntmaster, Nathan can't really see anything else in his hand. We did see that Incinerate earlier, but Nathan certainly is going to attack with Thalia. Oh, just sending everything. Okay, and Michael probably just going to double block the Huntmaster, which may be met with an Incinerate. Yes, we were getting a note that Nathan won the Legacy Open in Dallas, which is what I had suspected, but wasn't really sure.
What's also interesting about what's started so far is Nathan can't even be with Aggro Loam. Nathan can't even be 100% sure that his opponent's on blue-white black control. Like, this could just be a poor Delver draw.
Right. I'm not sure I agree with that play from Nathan's perspective. I think I probably would have just attacked with Thalia and the Wolf, and been able not have to cast a spell, been able to flip my Huntmaster,
take out a token, and then you're free to go to work.
And then I just still have Incinerate too.
Yeah. And he just drew Day of Judgment, which I don't think he had last turn.
No, and that blows up a bunch of stuff. And Nathan has not much that's going to have enough impact on this board. Like, it looks like Michael's hand is Liliana,
Consecrated Sphinx, Ratchet Bomb.
Ratchet Bomb. There's a pod.
It's Liliana +1.
Yeah, that's got to be it. Which takes out Blade Splicer, which could have become Hellrider, which is pretty powerful.
Yep.
So, and we're seeing a flashback.
Lingering Souls, yep.
Nathan
and just
says
drew and said go, which is pretty bad with a Liliana in play.
Yeah, that must have been one of the few uncastable cards. That's Inferno Titan, yep.
Based on Nathan's body language, you think it's possible he actually thought that his opponent was on?
I think it's entirely possible that, yeah, he
thought his opponent was on Delver
was playing a Spirit deck. All right, so Forbidden Alchemy digs for...
It's a checklist card, which I believe is Bloodline Keeper, his singleton.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, this game's pretty much
Yeah, he's
over.
got Consecrated Sphinx, Gideon. I mean, he's got
it
everything
all,
you could want.
Say.
Just ticking Liliana up as insurance, so in case anything goes haywire.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
So yeah, Nathan, I think
maybe misassessed the matchup.
Yeah,
there.
I think he may have thought that he was playing against an Esper Delver deck, and just wanted to sort of get as many threats on board as he could, and then turns out he got Day of Judgmented right off the top, and set back to the Stone Age.
So obviously you played this Naya Pod deck a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about control decks bringing in Karn against you?
It hasn't really happened to me.
Okay.
That I've noticed. I mean, the Karn is certainly potentially just a very powerful card at dealing with your large threats, but your game plan against them is more sort of like incrementally defeating them with the sort of smaller value threats along with Township. Township's really a big part of your planning about beating control decks. It's much less powerful against decks that have a bunch of mass removal like Day of Judgment, but you're often able to get enough damage in with keeping them off of being able to actually interact with you too much if you have like an early Thalia like we saw that game. If for instance Nathan went on to play that game's completely different.
Yeah.
Because that Thalia ends up being completely backbreaking.
So do you think you want the third copy of Curse of Death's Hold if you're in Wong's position here?
Curse is pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's not really backbreaking. Let me take a look at what does he have.
He has a couple. He has like two copies.
Timely is pretty good.
Phantasmal Image is pretty good. If he's
Image is pretty good.
Thalia or Thrun potentially.
Despise is actually not bad.
Since you are just all.
It's a Llanowar Elf deck. Like being able to take one of the important mana creatures on turn one or what they're going to cast. That said, Wong's deck doesn't have that many ways to actually produce black mana in the first couple turns, especially in the draw.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm in Nathan's shoes here, the cards that I want to be boarding in, I'd probably board in both Hero Blade Holds because you want just the sort of high impact threat cards that can end the game quickly. I'd board in the third Thalia. I'd probably board in one Ray of Revelation. I think that having access to a Ray of Revelation to be able to deal with your opponent's Oblivion Rings and curses and such, is typically pretty powerful, but you don't want to have a bunch of them because you can't really afford to have dead cards. And one thing that we saw that game was he drew his one Incinerate, and while Incinerate's a very good card against creature decks, it's largely dead against control. He used it to kill a token.
Yeah.
That's pretty unimpressive. If that had been say a Zenith, or if it had been just some other
a real threat card,
right?
Yeah,
it would have potentially made a big difference. If that had been a Garruk, it's just a very different game. And that's one of the reasons that I really like Garruk in this deck is exactly these sort of matchups because you're able to actually beat things like Day of Judgment that are otherwise pretty difficult for a creature deck like that to actually be able to match up against.
So where are you making cuts here?
Well, certainly Incinerate. Daybreak Ranger comes out. Fiend Hunter, I think, also comes out. And you can cut some number of Huntmasters. They're only okay here. And one of the big question, I think, is actually whether Inferno Titan stays in. Because the question of whether you want to try and invest in a large threat and have something potentially super scary to chain up to. But I'm not sure it's really necessary. I've pretty frequently found myself just being able to win by only ever being able to go up to Vorapede. Vorapede's actually very good in this sort of matchup because the Esper decks are really reliant on actually killing your creatures. It's not like you play a Vorapede and they're trumping you with a Titan. You play a Vorapede and they have to do something that gets rid of it, generally speaking. So I'd probably take out the Daybreak Ranger, the Incinerate, a Fiend Hunter. I'm at 3 now. 2 Huntmasters. Put in Thalia, 2 Hero of Blade Holds, and a Ray of Revelation.
Sure.
Check in with them and return your trade.
That's something I've never gotten a really good feel on as a sideboarder. Is just like having something like 3 copies of Ray of Revelation in your sideboard and bringing in 1 in a matchup.
Yeah, I think it's the sort of thing that's pretty subtle. That a lot of times people think either you want a sideboard card in a matchup or you don't. When realistically, certain effects, in a matchup where you really want Ray of Revelation, say Black-White tokens, Ray of Revelation is just backbreaking against them. So, I don't know that I would go all the way up to 3. I would probably still only want, a couple copies. But, in a matchup against an Esper Control deck where it's a good card but not always, I think having access to 1 is much more exciting. So, here we're off to start in game 2. So, Nathan has a pair of Pilgrims.
Township.
Yep. So that township.
Well, we have Garrick.
We have Garrick.
Yeah,
so.
we got a little something.
Garrick's making a wolf and needs some loyalty. So that bomb is probably just going to kill those 2 Pilgrims this turn.
Yeah, it seems safe. And then he's just going to have to ride this Garrick plus Township.
Yep. Yeah, Pilgrim's down.
But it doesn't seem like Wong's going to be able to get out from this Garrick in the short term.
Garrick
so we're going to have...
Garrick is brutal. That's, I think that he's just... I think Garrick is still underestimated. Yeah. Garrick is a card that I think, you see people only really... They don't just play, in decks where it's just a good card. In this deck, it's not a deck that, uses Garrick in, some sort of... It's not a token deck. You see Garrick in, token decks. And it's you don't need to be a token deck for Garrick to be good. You just need to be playing a deck.
Right. So now this is a pretty interesting decision from Zamora's position. Is he can potentially just not play into any counterspells for a very long time and try to just let Garrick do his thing.
Yeah, but he also he's kind of mana light.
He's jammed up right now.
And playing something like that Thalia there, I think Thalia is exactly what I would play there. Thalia can keep your opponent off of the ability to Day of Judgment you for a turn, even if it's an untapped light source. And your Garrick's just going to keep doing work. Despise.
Looks at a hand of Oblivion Ring, Blade Splicer, and Huntmaster.
I'm guessing he's taking Blade Splicer because it's the only castable one.
Right. Although there's an argument for taking Huntmaster because if he has 2 more lands in his hand and a Day of Judgment, so you actually kind of want to have him go next turn, play Blade Splicer right into your Day of Judgment. Yeah,
potentially. Though, if you Day of Judgment, you don't want him, and he doesn't draw a red source, he can't cast Huntmaster and follow up with more threats to support the Garrick. And he can copy the...
Oh, he can just image the Thalia?
Yeah. Alright, so Thalia dies.
2-headed giant players. On the L2R
Wolves come in, putting Michael to 13 life.
On it is your seedings for
Garrick, I'm just going to pump out another wolf here. Did he? Oh, okay. I'm sure Garrick actually made a guy.
I'm good.
So, here, a Batter Skull. Well, we do know that Nathan has an Oblivion Ring in his hand. So that Batter Skull is really very low impact. So he's just going to take 6 here, and then Nathan's going to make another wolf.
Well, I think he's just doing that to get the Oblivion Ring out of the way, so now he can go Curse, slow the clock down considerably, then Day, or do it in the other order.
Curse, he has to Day, right? Yeah. And this is where Garrick is just so impressive. Like a Planeswalker against in a situation like this. And one of the reasons that Garrick is so impressive is because his fight ability, he can have an immediate game impact. Even where a 2/2 is just not good enough, being able to eat a Bloodline Keeper, say, or being able to kill a Fiend Hunter, kill even a flipped Delver, just trade with it is a big deal. To say nothing of just how powerful it is against. And there's Image on Huntmaster. That's I'm not sure if I agree.
Isn't it just going to get
He's going to
free
fight
roll
it.
killed?
Yeah, he can just free roll fight it.
I mean, I think that he wants to fire off the Forbidden Alchemy this turn anyway, just to like find some sort of action. And if you're going to do that, then your mana might just be clogged up for the rest of the...
I don't know if I agree with making a wolf there.
If you feel like your mana is going to be clogged up for the rest of the game, then you want to just probably image right there. So you fire off your alchemy, and then you can use your mana for other stuff. Like this might be the best spot for him to cash in the image for some amount of value.
All right, well, it's actually going as well as it could for Nathan, because he didn't fight. He got to make a wolf, and he's going to get to kill the. Oh no, he's not. Michael's going to cast the Forbidden Alchemy, so he's not going to be able to activate his own Huntmaster.
Yeah, it just might be an issue of he feels like his mana is going to be tied up doing other things.
Ooh,
forever.
no, he's casting another Huntmaster. It's going to get into the day. I don't agree with that. I don't think. Like
you have plenty. You have way.
Yeah, you have a lot of threats. Like Michael's only at 7 life. If you draw a land,
yeah, you just start running the township.
Right.
And then if something happens, you still have your Huntmaster.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to commit more to the table there. So, yeah, it sends
the attack sort of signifies that a day of judgment is coming.
Yeah. We have reached a day of judgment, as Ben Rubin would say. All right, Michael goes to 5 life.
So he has a curse and just drew another curse, so he can actually go running curses right now.
If he plays a curse here, then he's getting attacked for 3 next turn. Although he dies if Nathan draws a land.
But if he doesn't draw a land, then the second curse could lock out a ton of what Nathan can do.
And Michael looks like he's debating. Oh, he has Lingering Souls. Lingers twice. Okay.
I'm not sure. Your deck doesn't actually play a ton of lands that come into play untapped from this position, right?
There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
It seems like he's running so like
there's 8 Scars lands. So
it seems like the upside of going curse here is so high. This play doesn't even necessarily get him anywhere.
It does, because he can trade with. Oh, I guess no. Yeah, if he just blocks, because then the next turn he doesn't necessarily die to. I don't know. Fights. Interesting.
He actually drew a Razorvine Thicket, which...
He's getting cursed.
Speaking to my point would have been...
Well, now Nathan can go get Slime.
Right, this is way worse. Yeah.
Or if he has... If he does a red source, he can go get Titan and just cast Titan. He can also just attack and then just use Township.
Yeah.
Or just cast Slime.
Sure.
That works too. So he goes to 3 life. We're going to see a... The question is actually whether we see a wolf, or a Death Touch wolf come out, or if we see him go tutor. I'm guessing he's probably in a Death Touch wolf.
Doesn't tutor give you better insurance against day of judgment, which is the only way to get out from here?
If you tutor up Strangroot-Geist, then I think tutoring up Strangroot-Geist may be the best.
Okay, he's gonna make a little guy.
Curse is not enough. And it looks like Curse and Liliana is all that Michael has, so. Oh, does he have another Lingering Souls? I didn't realize he had 2, hadn't he?
Yeah, okay.
Huh. Okay, well, that game goes to Nathan.
Alchemy. He flipped one over on the
gotcha.
alchemy.
Okay,
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Gotcha. All right, well, Nathan wins that game. We are tied up.
Yeah, I think if I was in Wong's position, I would have just tried to go for running curses.
I think that that just ends up being so much potentially more powerful.
Right. The thing is, like, because Zamora has Township, it means that your curses are very likely to diminish in value if you wait too long, because instead of
the creatures in play aren't going to die.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to, beyond the fact that there's two things going on there from where I'm sitting, and that would make me want to do that. One is, if he doesn't draw a land, you probably just win the game straight up.
Yes.
By going curse. Secondly, your curses are just not going to be particularly good as the game progresses.
Right.
Because of the Township, so you might as well just go for it while the go for it while the getting's good, I guess. So, Zamora will be on the draw for Game 3 here, which is
both players are going to their sideboards.
Yeah.
Which I like. I always like to see people sideboarding with differently for Game 3 than they did for Game 2. This is as we mentioned earlier today, one thing that players do not do nearly enough of is modify their sideboarding based on whether they are on the play or on the draw.
It's a lot of cards that there are definitely a lot of cards that wildly fluctuate in value. It is really interesting just like listening to you discuss, like the ramp versus the pod matchup, where it's just like the way that the cards align is, like the way the Hunter Master lines up with Garrick, lines up with his sweep spells, lines up with blah. It's like all these interlocking pieces that cause the cards to go up and down in value. It's not one of those things where it's like, well, Timely Reinforcements is not good on the play because I'm going to be ahead and bad on the draw.
Right, yeah. It's specifically this card lines up with this card, versus this card. Like you really want to Incinerate when you're, on the draw, because you want to be able to be the person who can, kill their Huntmaster if they went first. Whereas on the play, having Garrick is better because you can play Garrick, make a guy, and then if they play Huntmaster, kill it, or just play Garrick, kill their Huntmaster, things like that.
Yeah.
So as far as these two switching things up after sideboarding, I don't know that I would sideboard really much differently if I were Nathan, except he may have seen, because he saw Curse this game, he may be more inclined to bring in Ray of Revelation, which he may not have brought in for Game 2.
Yep.
In Game 1, he only really saw Day of Judgment. He did see the Batter Skull, but Batter Skull is a card that I like to just largely ignore and plan to deal with Oblivion Ring and Slime when it's coming out of decks like this. You really can't be boarding in like a grudge against a deck that only has Batter Skull.
Yeah, the more reactive you make your deck, the more likely you're going to draw these hands of birds, elves, reactive cards and not be able to go anywhere.
That's one of the big reasons that I like specifically Oblivion Ring in aggressive decks, compared to much of any other kind of removal, because Oblivion Ring is so catch-all, they're able to deal with any variety of things your opponent can throw at you.
So I think the one thing that we discussed a little bit that might change from Wong's side of the table, being on the play versus being on the draw, is the value of Despise. Like, casting Despise on turn 1 is awesome against a bird and elf style deck, because you can either take the one threat card or the one ramp card they need. Secondly, even if you don't have untapped mana on turn 1, which is likely, on turn 2 you're very likely to have untapped black, and then you can cast it and get their Talia, which on the draw, if you assume you have you don't have black mana until turn 2, you
right? Yeah. Well, we did see Michael play Despise in that game, in Game 2. So I imagine they're probably already in his deck, and I doubt he brought in one. Maybe he did, but it's possible that he wants maybe a third curse is better on the play than it is in the draw, because you're able to actually get to that point in your mana curve before your opponent is able to activate Township, for instance. That's another example of precisely how cards line up.
But I can't imagine not wanting the third curse in this matchup, even if you're on the draw.
All right, so
an isolated chapel.
And it looks like Nathan does have a Ray in his hand.
And a bird.
We see bird off of a forest, and then Despise. And that's going to hit
Hero to Blade Hold.
And that's it. There's just
Hero. Yeah, this is the disaster scenario we're talking about with too many reactive cards.
Yep. I hope that's, for Nathan's sake, that's his only Ray. If he draws another Ray, things are looking pretty bleak.
Yep.
And he draws
another Ray.
Another Ray. Oh my God. Things are in fact looking pretty bleak.
Yeah.
that I feel like I was a prophet. I just,
Right.
said, just called it right there.
Oh boy.
And yep, alchemy. Yeah, if you have no pressure on the board and your opponent is alchemying, you are in some trouble.
Yeah. Zamora needs to find some action and find some action quickly.
I mean, his hand is
Just drew a slime, I think.
He's gonna township up that bird. Birdie getting busy.
Oh no, it's a pilgrim. He drew a pilgrim.
All right, well, let's township.
Going to town.
We have gone to town on him.
It's a Hell Rider.
Which is castable.
Yeah, this is not too bad.
It's kind of rare that Hellrider's castable.
He gets to cast a Hell Rider and Ray the Curse.
It's not,
worse
it's not,
turns.
That's not too bad. Yeah, doesn't want to do that though. Just want to send for one. Maybe he doesn't want to get dayed here.
Maybe. Maybe he's happy just jamming his township for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like he is. I mean, Michael has a Sphinx here, which he could just play. No, doesn't want to. It's to linger.
And passes with 3 up.
I'm a little confused by that play. His looks like Sphinx. Is that even 2 Sphinxes in his hand? Maybe he just wants to day before casting the Sphinx.
Dashes.
Maybe he's just going to day here and then play flashback.
I think you
Lingering
just
Soul?
no. I think you just say. I would have. If you're going to do that, I think I'd rather just flashback alchemy that turn. Give him one more turn
Yeah.
to commit something to the board.
All right. Well, if there's time for Hellrider, it's now. He does know that Nathan has the Oblivion Ring, so not casting the Sphinx.
$10 draft number 6.
He is at least now he actually Sphinx and copy
$10
it.
draft number 6. Your event is about to begin.
Yeah, this is what he's been setting up. Sphinx, copy it, and Ray of Revelation that flash it back. Drawing 4 cards.
Pretty good.
Really? Why?
Pretty good.
And yeah, I'll attack with Hellrider. It'll do 1 to your image, please. So Nathan has. Is that a slime? I think there's a slime in his hand.
Yeah. He's got a plethora of reactive cards of marginal to negative utility, facing down 2 consecrated sphinxes.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the problem when you're playing an aggressive deck against a control deck. You can't put too many cards in your deck that are trying to react to their cards that they have against you.
Right. This is why I like Smash the Smithereens in the sideboards a lot more than I like.
What?
He's
paying 4 mana for this? I'm confused. Right. Yeah. I mean, things like that.
Right.
Absolutely, I agree. You want to have cards that are still
Searing Blaze and not Dismember.
You want to have cards that are still furthering your game plan. All right, so that comes in, does 1 damage attacking, and is going to get blocked.
Now with Dissipate up, it seems very unlikely that.
Oh, and Gideon.
Oh, good. Seems very unlikely that Wong can lose control of the game from here.
Yeah, this is sort of spiraled out of control, and it really all started when he drew that second Revelation.
Arguably, it started when he drew the first one, because it implied that more were coming down the pipeline.
Fair. So yeah, Gideon will pretty much do it, I think. Gideon ticks up. Hellrider and the Hellrider and Geist will come in. Hellrider will get eaten. Geist will do 4, bringing Wong to 10. Or he still can township and make that 9. Or if he could copy his Hellrider twice, he would kill him.
So still a lot of ins, a lot of outs.
Absolutely.
A lot of what have yous.
That Hellrider was a metamorph. It could have been a Sphinx.
Could be anything.
Well, not anything. There's not everything in play. There's not like an Emrakul in play. Let's not be ridiculous.
All right, so Slimer, I'm assuming this is not enough to draw out of Dissipate, because Gideon's kind of got this guy on lock.
Yeah. So incoming.
So redirecting the 2 Hellrider points, it looks like.
Okay.
I assume Sphinx is going to eat up Hellrider.
Yep. That puts Gideon to 3 counters still, so not really getting us much of anywhere.
Soon we're going to see a +2 momentarily.
Oh, no, he's just going to assassinate. I can get behind that.
I'm just sure. Oh, I guess the township. Yeah, the township, pretty big incentive.
Well,
I don't know. Not if you're going to do this, right? Because like,
yeah, if you're going to do this,
just making him attack makes the combat so ugly.
yeah. No, Sphinx is just going to bring it.
He's
I'm going to sack this
spin out his
and
deck
then
real quick.
draw from Sphinx. We want to get all goodies, no lands. No whammies, no whammies. Stop.
It's hard for things to be too bad.
Yeah, you can't really. There's not really very many whammies. So,
I
yeah, they
guess
come in, eats some guys.
Zamora did not attack Gideon. Just went to the head.
I guess. And then I think we may just see Gideon go live here.
Just time to turn
Gideon,
it on.
Yeah, Gideon's just going to do it live.
Yeah, here we go. Getting frisky.
Boom, 11. Yeah, this game is all but over.
Sure, some lingering soul hanging out there.
Cue the cranberries.
Come on, Ray of Revolution! Oh, no.
Attack.
I love, this is my favorite attack. It's just, I want to see what kind of man you are. Right before I can see it, I just want to see if you're willing to take this too, if you chump block, if you trade.
And shuffles him into his deck. Yeah. All right, we call that the Jason Gordon strategy.
that is
so
extremely old school reference.
Michael Wong takes the match 2 games to 1 with his Esper control deck, taking down Naya sort of pod, podish, pseudopod,
diet pod,
pod light,
yeah,
pod max. It's the Pepsi version. Pepsi Max
okay.
Pepsi Max is 10 calories. It makes sense, right? What?
Yeah. It's the maximum number of calories. No, that is not true. That does not make any sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty straight. I mean, that third game was a pretty pretty
Yeah,
lopsided.
but
advantage.
I do think that as far as sort of lessons from that game, we even commented on, oh well, he better not draw another revelation. Then he immediately